When you have a leaky pipe under the sink,
Mhm.
you call a plumber. Or when your car makes that terrifying grinding noise, you go to a mechanic.
Right, yeah. We live in a completely specialized world.
Exactly. You find your lane, you pick up your specific tool, and you just stay in it.
Yeah.
But welcome to today's Deep Dives, where we're actually questioning that whole setup. Our mission today, pulled straight from your notes, is unpacking the true meaning of a polymath.
And just to get a quick grammar note out of the way right up front, polymath is the noun. So, a person who is a polymath, while polymathic is the adjective.
Right, polymathic tendencies, things like that. So practically speaking, what are we actually looking at here? Because I hear that word and I just think of, someone who's really good at trivia.
Well, it's a bit more than that. We're looking at someone who possesses deep, really wide-ranging knowledge across completely unrelated subject areas. A true polymath draws from this massive, diverse toolkit to solve problems.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because I hear that and immediately think, well, sure, I have hobbies, right? Like I enjoy cooking and I know a little bit of coding.
Yeah, but to understand what a polymath actually is, we really have to look at the whole spectrum of learners and, frankly, define what a polymath isn't.
Okay, so what isn't it?
While on one end of the spectrum, you have multi-potentialites. These are people with a lot of interests who jump around between various creative pursuits. Then you have generalists who have a broad but very shallow array of skills.
Oh, I see.
Polymaths operate on a completely different level. Their knowledge in multiple fields isn't just a hobby. It's extensive and it's expert level.
So like a generalist is sort of like a Swiss Army knife.
Exactly.
It's handy, it'll get you out of a jam, but it's never the absolute best tool for a specific job. A polymath, on the other hand, is like being a master blacksmith, a master carpenter, and a master electrician all at the same time.
That is a perfect way to put it. It's extreme breadth combined with extreme depth. And it's driven by this really insatiable curiosity that refuses to be confined to a single academic major.
Or one specific career path.
Right, right. But simply accumulating those separate degrees or skills isn't the whole picture. The defining characteristic of a polymath is synthesis.
See, I struggle with this idea of synthesis. Like, if I'm an expert carpenter and an expert accountant, how do those ever actually combine? Aren't they
Ugh.
just parallel tracks?
You would think so, but
Because balancing a ledger doesn't physically build a better cabinet.
well, it's not about combining the literal task. It's about merging the mental models. So an accountant carpenter might use the structural logic of a balanced ledger to revolutionize the geometry of weight-bearing joints in furniture, for example.
Oh, wow. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, synthesis is the ability to connect the dots between totally disparate fields. Your sources actually highlight people using musical theory to map out complex mathematical patterns. You take the framework of one discipline and force it onto another.
Let's ground this in history, because we've seen Renaissance men and women literally change the world using that exact mechanism.
Hmm.
Leonardo da Vinci is the classic example here, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's the ultimate polymath.
We just picture him painting the Mona Lisa, but he was simultaneously a master anatomist, a sculptor, and an engineer.
And those weren't just separate side hustles for him.
Yeah.
He physically dissected human bodies to study musculature, which allowed him to paint figures with unprecedented realism.
Right.
Then he applied that biological understanding of joints and tendons to engineer mechanical gears and levers. So the biology literally built the machine.
That's incredible, but my absolute favorite example from your notes has to be Hedy Lamarr.
Yes, such a great example.
People just know her as this golden age Hollywood actress.
Mm.
But she didn't just act.
No, she co-invented frequency hopping technology. This perfectly answers your question about how synthesis physically works. Before Hollywood, she was actually married to an Austrian munitions manufacturer.
Which is a wild pivot in itself.
Totally. But she learned the inner workings of torpedoes there. Years later, she's in America acting, but she's also collaborating with this avant-garde composer named George Antheil.
Wait, really? She combined torpedoes and music.
She literally did. She took the mechanical reality of both. The military had a huge problem at the time. Their radio-guided torpedoes were being easily jammed by the enemy, blasting interference on a single frequency.
Okay, so how did she fix that?
Well, Lamarr and Antheil synthesized her knowledge of munitions with his knowledge of player pianos. They realized that just as a player piano roll dictates rapid, synchronized key changes, they could create a mechanism to rapidly switch radio signals across multiple frequencies in perfect sync.
Making the signal impossible to jam. That is just incredible. And that specific mechanism, frequency hopping, That paved the way for modern Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, didn't it?
It did. It's literally the foundation of modern wireless communication.
It blows my mind. Oh, and you can add Benjamin Franklin to that roster, too.
Yeah.
A world-class diplomat whose understanding of human nature really fueled his physical sciences and his inventions.
Exactly. So the core takeaway for you today is this. Breakthroughs rarely come from hyperspecialization. Real innovation happens when a polymath views a single problem through multiple, completely unrelated lenses.
It's like that moment the master blacksmith looks at a metallurgical problem using the logic of a master electrician. Thank you for diving into this with us today.
It's been great.
But before you go, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. If the real magic happens when these diverse fields collide, yet our modern education and corporate systems constantly force us to pick a single niche and hyperspecialize.
Which they absolutely do.
Right. Are we accidentally engineering the next generation of polymaths out of existence? Are we forcing everyone to just be a Swiss Army knife, when what the world really needs are a few more master builders?